first on the road. And I think we'll take it a bit slow this morning. I think it's going to be very wet and slippery. And I would say after an hour or two, it'd be quite dry, and then we can send as fast as we can.
Reinecker and Houghton got proceedings underway and immediately came to grips with the unusual experience of racing on tar. The Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, set up for rough off-road conditions, is clearly not happy with the tarmac, which is causing it to experience understeer. Someone who is experiencing lesser problems is our leading special vehicle contender.
Laas jaar het ons 'n bietjie baie probleme gehad. So hierdie jaar voel baie lekker om hier te staan waar ons nou staan.
The Duplessis pair were away next. They prepare their car themselves, and while they used to share the driving, Harrod has in recent times taken charge of the driving duties, with Lawrence handling the navigation. Their Porsche-powered Chenoweth has proved to be a formidable contender in recent events, but somehow seems to be plagued by niggling reliability problems. Hard on the heels of the Duplessis brothers was the father and son pairing of Rob and Gareth Watt, who were followed in quick succession by the Nobles from Gaborone in their Ace Coat, and Cliff Barker and Malcolm Hubert in the Caledon 400 winning Land Rover. Seconds behind Barker was the ever-popular Jackie Hubert, now with rally driver Gijs Klein in the Jojo Tanks VW Volvo. Stratford Furth, electing to run with the Vacation Vans Jeep Cherokee in two-wheel drive, got underway just ahead of Hannes Grobler in the works Nissan Hardbody in the chase for Class T honours. Passed out of the blocks, Grobler quickly closed down on the Jeep and made up his first place of the morning within a kilometre. Barker was soon to be Grobler's next victim, as the former off-road and rally champion continued his early morning charge through the field. Grobler now found himself in fourth place after starting from 8th, with Jackie Hubert in his sights. A wrong slot by the VW Volvo driver handed third place to Grobler and lead. 10 minutes into the race, Reinecker was maintaining his early lead in a sweet-sounding Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. The Freiburg Palmer had started the day in confident mood, but was tempering his natural instinct to push hard by taking no chances. Behind Reinecker, the Duplessis brothers were well ahead of the chasing pack and had opened a comfortable gap in their team Barberspan Chenoweth over the rest of the special vehicle field. Grobler, still closely followed by Hubert, was next up. The four-wheel drive VW Volvo benefiting from the lack of dust and able to follow close on the heels of the works Nissan Super Truck. Conditions were almost perfect, but how long would this last? The charge of the Light Brigade had nothing on this. A string of special vehicles speed across the grass, running seconds apart, with the Nobles ahead of the pack in the Ace Coat. Hot on their heels were the Walks, the Chepex, the Bertholdt, and the up-and-coming Greg Dowse and navigator VZ Van Zyl. National Championship off-road racing is very much a family affair. Barker had Camille de Villiers and Francois Jordan on his tail in the second works Nissan Hardbody Super Truck. The reigning touring car champion now in the top 10 after starting in 16th place. Back on board with Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek, now in third place with the Duplessis brothers and Reinecker and Houghton in their sights. Drama at the front as Reinecker overshoots a turn and loses the lead to Duplessis, closely followed by Grobler. The Nissan pair immediately take advantage and pass the Chenoweth to take the lead for the first time. But almost immediately he too hesitates, and this allows Reinecker to retake the lead, with the Duplessis brothers also getting the better of the Nissan later on. An hour into the race, and among the spectators is veteran rally and off-road driver Cassie Kutsia, watching old friend and rival Api Reinecker come through in the lead. In hot pursuit are Duplessis, Grobler, Walk, Bertholdt, Chepek, and Barker, forming a 7-vehicle train. Off-road racing is never normally this close. Next up and leading Class D is the works-assisted Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser of Shumi van Vuren and Fani Kotze. Bearing down on the Toyota is the Dakar Pajero of Bucks Carolyn and Henny Testiga, who in turn have the vacation vans Jeep Cherokee of Voigt and Abraham in hot pursuit. Into the abandoned diamond diggings near Bakerville, Reinecker holds a slender lead over the closing pack of Duplessis, Probler, Walk, Berthold, Parker and Chepek. How much pressure can a man take? Also making his move following an early scare caused by an overheating diff is Carolyn in the works Pajero, with the ever-present Jeep of Voigt and Abraham still breathing down his neck. Shumi van Vuren continued to hold a firm grip on Class D in his Toyota, but Cliff Weichelt and Johan Smalberger in the N1 4x4 Toyota Land Cruiser, who started 28th, had made up 14 places and now posed a real threat. Reigning Class D champion Hein Frobler and navigator Gerard Prinsloo, who started 22nd in their Nissan, were 15th but were destined not to finish. Barberton-based brothers Andrew and Chris Birkin were having a trouble-free run in the Castrol Toyota Hilux and were under no threat from the rest of the competitors in Class E. KwaZulu-Natal crews have invaded Class B of the special vehicle class this season. Gavin Gray and Johan van Jaarsveld were clearly in charge of proceedings in their JRE. Bez and Dion Besaidnout, also from KwaZulu-Natal, were running a close second. Leading the Mitsubishi Colt Challenge in the Lichtenburg 400 with Daimler Chrysler export manager Mike Thompson and Brian Haviland. New Ford recruits Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham were having a steady run in their Class E diesel-powered Ford Ranger. Almost 2.5 hours into the race and there's another change in the order. The Duplessis brothers are now in the lead again. They have the field breathing down their necks, and now there is no room for complacency, even less for error. The Walk father and son pairing pick their way carefully through the twisting dirt tracks and have Probler and Leek hard on their heels. Not much further back are Reinecker and Houghton, the Chepeks, and Barker running without rear brakes. The Jeep of Voigt and Abraham has got past the Dakar Pajero of Carolyn and Testiga and was closing on Barker's Land Rover. Queenstown-based Craig Harvey and Boy Stone were engineering a remarkable run through the field after starting from 33rd place and were now lying 8th. Carolyn and Weichelt were chasing hard in the Jimco's dust. Atang Makakhaneni and former quad champion Evan Hutchinson were in trouble with their brand new 3.6-litre Porsche-powered Jimco, smoke signaling an engine problem and early retirement from the race. The end of the first loop and new leaders in the form of the Duplessis brothers. While pit crews refueled the Chenoweth production vehicle category leaders, Reinecker and Houghton arrive and there's a flurry of activity in the Toyota pit. Rob and Gareth Walk have had a problem-free run and are well placed.
Cliff got ahead now, not refueling, but we hope we're better. We've been running a bit hot, running first to the road. We've clogged our radiator up. All the grass seed that's out there, but it's clear now, so hopefully we can use all the power now.
Time for the Toyota pair to get underway and continue the chase after Frobler and Leek in the Nissan, who had a lightning pit stop. But another place lost as the Duplessis leave the pit ahead of them with Walk in hot pursuit. Problems for Chepek Senior and Junior. The Porsche engine doesn't want to start, costing them valuable time as Harvey and Stone head out onto the second loop. A driver change for the Jeep Cherokee. Arthur Abraham joins son Scott in the cockpit, and the pair set off in hot pursuit of the leading pack. Problems in the N1 4x4 camp and frustration for Cliff Byheld as he waits for the crew to repair the Toyota Land Cruiser.
Something's wrong on the brake pedal. It's come loose, so we haven't got brakes, so we can't push out flat out. So we just want to sort that out, then we're up and going. Otherwise, the car's going well.
Disappointment for Atang Makaganeni and Evan Hutchinson, who were forced to retire the Jimco.
But I'm glad we stopped it before the engine ceased, and it's obviously it will save us a lot of time and money in repairing it, but we'll be back again next time.
And Richard Leake in the Nissan Hardbody are clearly in control at the head of the chasing pack. Greg Harvey and Boy Stone are on a charge in the Castrol Queen Motorspares Jimco, followed closely by Reinecker and Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. Cliff Barker didn't stop at the service point, which gained him a couple of places, and neither did Bucks Carolyn in the Mitsubishi Pajero, who had to contend with a hard-charging Franz Czepek Jr. The Duplessis brothers had dropped a few places, but were still in contention for a podium finish in the Porsche-powered Chenoweth. The Bertolds, with Gary now behind the wheel of the M&E Glass Raceco, were on a charge. They were being chased by the Jeep, which would later lose an hour when a jack failed while the Abraham pair were replacing a flat wheel. A disappointing end to an impressive performance. Shumi van Vieren maintained a commanding lead in Class D in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, now minus some body work. An hour further into the loop and Harvey and Stone had gone into the lead in the Toyota Lexus V8-powered Jimco. But where's the Nissan of Hannes Grobler? There's no time for complacency on the part of Harvey because the Czepeks are literally breathing down their necks in the V-Motors Chenoweth. Cliff Barker and Malcolm Joubert in the Land Rover were on a mission to beat all the factory-ended crews in the production vehicle category, but they couldn't afford any mistakes, knowing that the experienced Api Reinecker was in hot pursuit and waiting for his chance to grab the lead with an hour to go in the race. Word arrives that Grobler's Nissan has picked up a puncture as eventual Class D winners Shumi van Vieren and Vani Kotze powered their Toyota Land Cruiser along the twisty, bumpy track. Teammates Pitt Haasberg and Christo Bosch started 55th and had moved up to 11th at this point. This fine performance earned them second place in Class D. Andrew and Chris Birkin in the Toyota Hilux were never under threat in Class E, and the win got their championship season off to a good start. Hill Nell's winning streak in Class B was well and truly broken by Gavin Gray and Johan van Jaarsveld in the JRE. Mike Tomset and Brian Haviland were the leading Mitsubishi Colt crew until right before the end, when Freddie van der Linde and Philip Coetzee in the Petrocam Colt sneaked through into third place in Class D. Disappointment for reigning Class B champion Hill Nell.
Hill, what's the problem?
Flat wheel. Wat kun je doen?
Nell loses a place to Max Moore in the Class B Industrial Hardware Mighty Mag, who finishes third in class. Victory at the end of a long and tough GC Grobler Lichtenburg 400 for the formidable Czepek father and son duo and the V Motors Chenoweth. Drama as Greg Harvey and Boy Stone come limping in with their rear tire in shreds. This puncture costing them almost certain victory.
Very nice, very nice.
We've stolen a win again from it. Yeah, this is a good start to get A1 back. We've been missing it. Last year we had a bit of a bad run, but it's a good start for A1, and we've got full points. So it's a good start for the season. We're very happy with that.
Results for the special vehicle category have the Czepeks taking top honors, with Harvey, Duplessis, Berthold and Walk rounding out the top 5. Cliff Barker and Malcolm Joubert achieved their objective of beating the factory teams in their privately entered Land Rover, and Api Reinecker and Robin Houghton in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser are left to lick their wounds as they cross the line second.
We had a good run. I think the format with everybody starting so close made good racing. We were all close all day. Luckily there was not much dust.
Drama at the finish when Hannes Grobler and Richard Leake arrive in a very battered Nissan hardbody.
about 6 kilos from the end, there was like a ditch. But it wasn't that bad this morning, and in the dust we just went into the ruts with the other cars, and we went like the car went end over nose, so that was it.
The team of Cliff Barker and Malcolm Juvert placed their privateer Land Rover at the top of the production vehicle log, with Reiniger, Carolyn and Grobler having to wait till the next round to challenge the leaders.